Hey everyone, just wanted to come on and just talk for a little bit, hopefully. I don't want this video to be too long. So, yesterday was not a good day for me, and I don't know how much detail I really want to go into about this right now. Contemplated doing a live video, but I just don't think I can come on live and talk about this yet. So I just wanted to say that I'm all right. I am all right. Obviously, I'm affected by everything that is going on in the world, as is everybody else. But I have to talk to you about it a little bit because it's my responsibility to do so. And I say it's my responsibility to do so because I am obviously a person of colour, and there is a lot going on right now. There's lots of discussions, there's some incredible support out there, and there's a lot of anger and frustration, which is completely, everything that's going on right now is completely expected. So there's a few things I just wanted to talk about. So first of all, when people say that Black Lives Matter, people do not mean that no one else's life is important. That is not what it is about. So I can understand people's misinterpretation and people getting angry. And yes, of course, all lives do matter. The issue at hand is that in a lot of places in the world, it's very prominent in the US right now, Black lives do not matter. They are not seen as equal. That's the problem, okay? From my point of view, as I see it, and everybody will have different experiences. Systemic racism, subtle racism, it's going on, and it's wrong, and people are dying, okay? But it's important for you to know that this movement's important to make changes and make it so all lives can matter, including Black lives. So it's not about everything else or everyone else right now. And I've seen quite a few analogies on the internet that have been really, really good. And a friend shared one the other day, which I did share, and they were talking about, imagine one child and that child being treated so poorly, really, really badly, and you wanting to do everything that you possibly can to protect that child. That doesn't mean that every other child in the world doesn't matter. It just means that right here, right now, that child is important, and that's why that child's life matters. And that's literally it. And there's so much research out there, and I do not profess to have all of the answers, and I don't profess to be particularly knowledgeable. I have work to do in terms of my own education. I come from a mixed race family. My mum is white, my sisters are white, me and my brother are mixed race, and my mum went through some horrible, horrible shit when she had my brother and my sisters, because obviously they're different colours. And back in the 60s, it was frowned upon. Interracial relationships were frowned upon, and I'm not going to go into details as to what happened to my mum because that's her story to tell, but let's just say it was pretty damn disgusting, and that's how she was treated by people of her own colour. Now, my mum's Irish, and so she knows about prejudice. She came over here when she was 17, and the only person who she could get a room with was another black lady who owned a boarding house, because there were signs out there that said no blacks, no dogs, and no Irish. And again, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. So I grew up in a family where they wanted to protect me as much as possible. My brother had already been through all of that with my mum, and they didn't want it for me. And as much as you try to protect, and I feel like I was in a protective bubble, and I love my family for that. My sisters were fighting all of the time to protect and fight and defend the fact that our family was so diverse and so different. But I experienced racism as a child, and for both sides. So I was 10 the first time I was called something derogatory, a racial slur, which was pretty bad. My mum dealt with it pretty well, and that's another story for another time, And funnily enough, the girl that did that tried to add me on Facebook last year. That was funny. Obviously, I declined. So then through school was treated differently because there wasn't that many mixed race people in school. There was a handful of black people in school. And because I was lighter, I used to get shit from a lot of the black girls in school. I used to get people used to say, you think that you're better, and they used to just be really vile. Had that growing up as well. From a lot of women, just because you're light skinned, you think you're nicer than we are. All kinds of shit, So I had abuse from both sides, prejudice from both sides. Haven't experienced it for a while. I've been through a lot. I'm sure, okay, so I'm sharing more information as you kind of understand what I've been through, but there's people that have been through a lot worse than me. But I've been followed by the police. I used to drive a Golf GTI and I used to get followed by the police. I've been pulled over by the police. And then as soon as they've realised that I'm not a man, because I used to drive in a hoodie and a baseball cap. This was coming from rehearsal, so I used to be a professional dancer. I got stopped, I got followed loads. People might say, oh yeah, well, you're driving a boy racer's car. I'm like, yeah, but does it really matter what car I drive though? So there's been things like that. And then when I met my husband, obviously those of you that know Steve's white. So we experienced not much, but some racism as an interracial couple, and it happens, even if it's subtle, it's still happening. And so everything that's coming out in the States right now, a lot of people might be like, but why are you affected by it though? Because it's in America. Doesn't matter. It happens in this country as well. It just might not seem as prevalent, okay? Or if you don't see it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. I don't want to demand that any of my friends do anything at all. I don't want, because it's your choice. It's your choice. It's hard. It's hard when you have all of this going on, and God, I don't know how to put this into words. When it was Blackout Tuesday, blackout, media blackout, that's what they were referencing to, shut down, don't promote your businesses or anything like that. Let's use our voices collectively to be heard, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be talked about right now. I didn't want to force people to share the black square or share messages or anything like that on Facebook. I have a lot of people that did. I had a lot of messages, and I have people who wanted to ask me questions, and I said, go ahead. There are a lot of people out there that don't want to be asked questions and think that people should go and find out for themselves. I am happy. I'd rather have a conversation and educate somebody if they really want to know, than say, go and check out Google, because everybody's experience is completely different, There's a lot of research that you can do. There's a lot of books out there that can be read. There's lots of things that we can do to educate ourselves. And I say me too, because even though I'm mixed race, and people might go, yeah, but your mum's white. Yes, I'm mixed race, but when you look at me, or when somebody looks at me, they don't see a mixed race person, it could be a stranger, or, if I'm being followed by the police, or if I'm in a shop and I'm being followed around because they think I'm going to steal, they see a black person. They don't see me and go, oh, well, yeah, she's married to a white guy, her mum's white, whatever, So I'm trying to explain. I don't know if I'm explaining very well, but this video needs to go out anyway. So, you get subtle racism, and people just wanted to feel supported. So there's a lot of anger and frustration, and I can understand anger and frustration on both sides. But what I don't want it to do is to start breaking up friendships and stuff, because people just need to have conversations. So going back to Blackout Tuesday, there's a lot, I got a lot of people that did share messages and stuff. You don't need to share the square. You can have a conversation with somebody and say, I support you. Don't assume that people know that you support them. That's a message that I can definitely put out there. Please don't assume that your friends, your family members, and I'm saying this as well because I know that I've got friends who have white members in their family who haven't received any support or haven't had a conversation. I'm lucky. Obviously, I grew up in a very diverse family, and my immediate family are what matters to me. And, so it's all good if people choose not to share the message. So just don't assume that people will know that you're supporting them. Sometimes people need to be reminded that they're being supported. And, so please, don't get mega defensive, okay? If you can, try and take a step back. I'm saying this to both sides. Try and take a step back. Don't assume that people don't care if they don't share. Don't assume that people will feel supported if you don't share. Everybody needs to educate themselves. I am in a prominent position. I am the CEO of a very popular fitness brand. I am an influencer. I have a lot of people that follow what I do and look up to me, and I have my children and my friends and my family that it is my responsibility to talk about this, and it is my responsibility to educate those that want to be educated. I think Lisa might have shared something where, you know, you're wasting your time if you try and educate people who are ignorant. You know, don't waste your energy. I will have to find the post and put it in the comments below this video, because it was a really good post that I'm quite possibly misquoting. I think I am misquoting it. You know, people just need to talk more. I want people to talk more. I need to educate myself as well. You know, I have been guilty of not finding out more about UK history, assuming that the history we covered at school was it. It's not. It is not. We need to delve deeper into our own history. You know, I was born and raised here. I also need to know more about my own culture and my own heritage on both sides. You know, it's important for me to do that education so that I can educate my children. So I need to do better as well. You know, I do not have all the answers just because I'm a person of colour, but because I have a platform, it's important that I share. And I wanted to record this video as opposed to going live, because I just didn't want to get into a massive debate. And if I've offended or upset anybody as a result of doing this video, then maybe I'm not the person that you want to be friends with, because I'm not going to stop talking about this now. I haven't talked about it anywhere near enough, and I am making that change to educate the people who I love and care about, and to continue to educate myself. So there will be times where I do get upset. There will be times where I do share things, and worrying about my reputation in an industry that I love should not stop me from doing this at all. I don't need to be scared to have a voice, and I've been guilty of that in the past, and that's on me, and I need to own that. I've talked longer than I wanted to. If anybody wants to talk to me, feel free. I've got a load of messages that I need to go back to, because I just tried to take myself away from social media yesterday. And I have to say thank you to my friends that I spoke to yesterday. Please don't feel offended if I didn't come back to you yesterday. I'm on it. And thank you to Dominique Parlay, who saw that message probably before most people did and told me to take myself out of the equation for the day. So it was a really good piece of advice. So thanks for that, Dom. So I'm going to go. Like I say, I had to speak out. I don't know if this video has made any sense at all, but it can give you the experience. You know, I've given you a little bit of information about the experiences I've had growing up. I am thankful to live in Birmingham, which is, you know, some people might disagree with me, but I've travelled a lot, and it's by far the most diverse, okay, don't know if diverse was the right word, but it's the most diverse and supportive city that I have ever lived in, and I am proud to be a Brummie, very much so, and I love my community, and I'm so grateful to everyone who supported me through every aspect of my life. So we just need to continue to talk, guys. Let's talk, you know, try and sidestep the anger, yeah? Or if you feel angry, then just let's try and have educated conversations, intelligent conversations, and try not to be defensive. And I say that to everybody, you know, because until Black Lives Matter, all lives won't matter, yeah? So please don't think that when that is said, that people of colour are assuming that nobody else matters. We just want to matter too.